How did it feel after Drink Champs to have so many people basically like debating and arguing if you were f***ed up during that interview?
I was lit, but I wasn't lit like, bitch, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm always knowing what I'm doing. I remember every thing. Shit a bitch could do. Ain't nothing like, ain't no nothing get past me.
Kodak Black does an interview with No Jumpers Adam 22. This is Fresh Hip Hop Opinion with your guy Alize. Don't forget to subscribe. So people, we've not seen much about Kodak Black in recent times, not in a major way anyway. And it's always interesting when you see him resurface from his hiatus. Well, he sat down with Adam 22 at like 2 something in the morning, West Coast in America time. I wouldn't say he's in as bad of a state as we've seen him on Drink Champs with Nori and Effin. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't like you couldn't understand what he's saying, that crazy. It's almost like he was speaking another language on that interview. But this one, he was still mumbling. Let's keep it real. He was still mumbling, still not fully coherent. I missed a lot of what he said, but it wasn't as bad as Drink Champs. I think even Adam 22 struggled to hear him, because a lot of times Kodak would be talking and then Adam would just say, okay, and then move on to the next question. You know, that's a clear indication the interviewer couldn't understand a mother flipping thing when he just says okay when you give an answer. And Kodak was standing up quite a lot. He was standing up randomly, walking around the studio, even to the point where he's kept his backside facing the camera. He just stood up and Adam was saying like, yo, the camera is just gonna get your backside. And he just stood there, kept talking, mumbling, and he progressively actually got a bit worse during the interview in terms of standing up and acting a bit odd. And Adam 22 himself has said somebody that keeps randomly standing up in interviews or when you're just chilling generally means they're on some sort of substance. And Adam 22, being a former substance taker, knows a few things about that kind of behavior.
Okay, I got to say what I've said on other podcasts to you, which is basically from my mind as a person who's taken a lot of drugs over the years. When I saw you like standing up suddenly in the middle of the interview and just kind of swaying back and forth, my brain, like the part of my brain that knows what it feels like to get up was like, oh yeah, he's on a good one right there.
But yeah, you know, Kodak was in good spirits as usual, always smiling, always on some positive vibes. He brought his crew up there and he answered all the questions, no problems. Although when Adam was probing a bit about his Drink Champs interview, a bit too much, Kodak did respond a bit prickly, like, I don't want to be interviewed like you're some sort of detective.
What you talking about? You say detail what?
Just where you were at during that interview, since so many people seem to have strong feelings about it.
2 hours long, honey, so you gotta be more specific.
Well, yeah, I mean, usually if you get loaded, it'll last a good 2 hours, right?
I ain't came up here for you to like be playing detective.
I'm not trying to play detective. I just okay, yeah. I was just figured I would bring that up since we've talked about that so many times. And I figured you might want to set the record straight.
I ain't trying to exploit your. I ain't even came up here talking about your wife and that shit because I don't know it and I don't know you, feel me?
It's kind of a funny response, but yeah, clearly he didn't like those type of questions. He probably gets those questions quite a lot based on how viral that moment went. But he also admitted that he used to take over 100 perks a day. He actually said that on stage, and that was brought up again during his interview. He admitted it was true by like nodding. I mean, that sounds like a lot. I don't even know how he had that much time to take that many perks. Hopefully he's not taking anywhere near that amount these days. I mean, in summary, the interview was kind of like a typical Kodak Black interview. He wasn't very easy to understand, but at the same time, he has a funny kind of personality that keeps it somewhat interesting. But his behavior physically, like standing up all the time, mumbling a heck of a lot, definitely is something that I would probably say, hey, if you want to see it for that. There's no revelations in that interview that you'll be that interested in, unless you're like a super Kodak Black fan. But I'll give them all props. They had a lot of energy for 2 something in the morning. That time is my bedtime. I'm fast asleep at that time. But on a serious note, I would love to see another interview of Kodak Black further down the line this year maybe, where he's a bit more coherent and kind of showing that he's not on as much substances. Unless the stuff he's taken in the past has scrambled his brain so much that it's affected the way he speaks, which I doubt it. I think once he comes off all that, comes out of his system, I think he'll be talking much more clearer than he currently is. People, I want to know what you lot think about that interview between Kodak Black and Adam 22. And if you ain't seen it, just in general, what do you think about Kodak? And do you think he's getting clean? And do you think he has a serious issue? Leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It's Fresh Hip Hop Opinion. Peace and love.